Well, welcome everyone. We're so excited to have you here. Welcome to the Mizzen Education and Farm to Table Kids workshop. We're excited. We have lots of great things to cover with you today. Of course, I'm Angelina Garner. I guess I should introduce myself, right? Well, I'm Angelina Garner. I'm Vice President of Strategic Innovations and Partnerships. And I get the lovely job of coordinating and cultivating all the different types of partnerships that we have around the learning resources. So I'm super excited about this one. Farm to Table Kids, we launched it last week. And so excited that you are here with us today. So that is just wonderful. And so if you're here, maybe you know a little bit about Mizzen. If not, I'll share. So Mizzen is this wonderful out-of-school time platform that's been designed for out-of-school time educators that offers up amazing out-of-school time free resources. And so one of those free resources and partners that we have today is with Farmer Steph. And so Farmer Steph will be taking us through her expert knowledge of thinking about how to garden and farming with your young people. And so just a little bit about Farmer Steph. I don't want to take all the time because as you can see on the screen, we've got some exciting things that are going to be happening there. But Farmer Steph herself has always just loved learning. She is a lifelong learner and educator. Her family has been in, I say, the gardening and farming business for as long as she can remember. Steph Steph actually offers up many different camps in Maine and across the country. And so she's had the opportunity for young people to be in the space where they're really growing and learning all about the things that you can nurture the earth while they're nurturing themselves. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Steph, Farmer Steph, I will say. If you do have questions, just to say, please feel free to put them in the chat. We'll be looking at those and looking at that information. And then at the end, we will also have some time to be able to answer those questions. So sit back, enjoy, get your listening ears on, and let's have some fun. So I'm going to turn
Awesome.
it to Steph.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Angelina. I am so happy to be here. Like Angelina said, I've been gardening all my life. I'm a third generation flower grower. And after my son got well from stage 4 cancer, I decided to dedicate my career to what I love to do. My passion is farming with kids. Farm to Table Kids is a community based out of Maine where we offer 2 summer camp programs. We also have a ton of in-person workshops for families and kids and a ton of free educational resources online as well. I also do school garden consulting across the country. So I love meeting new people, love connecting people with the garden, especially kids. So we have launched 2 really exciting modules with Mizzen. And the best part about it, guys, is that they're all free for you to use. So the first module is everything you need to know before you grow. So that's going to take you through plant hardiness zones, your frost states. We're going to talk about how to design your garden layout with your kids. And again, all of this is designed so that kids can absolutely use the materials and activities. But if you're an adult grower too, and you just want to learn how to grow flowers and know this information, it's relevant for everyone. The other module is how to grow dahlias with kids. And guys, we started with dahlias because dahlias are one of those flowers where you not only get the blooms, but one single dahlia tuber is going to produce a big cluster of 10 to 12 or more dahlia tubers throughout the course of the growing season. So if you live in a cold weather climate where you get frost, you're actually going to dig those up, harvest them in the fall, overwinter them, and we're going to take you through every single step from knowing your plant hardiness zone and when to start your dahlia tubers in the ground to how to harvest them, how to organically manage them and take care of them and dig them up and store them. We're going to take you through the whole process. And that's why it's a great learning tool for kids is because we really have to talk about the seasons and weather conditions and how to care for that flower or that seed throughout the course of the year. So it's a very we go in depth in this, and I'm going to be showing you some of the learning materials that we'll be using and offering through Mizzen. So one of the things I wanted to get started with is the first module, Know Before You Grow. That one I'm super proud of. That's relevant to any gardener, whether you have a school garden, a home garden, um, home educators, anybody can use this module. This is something I love. It's Know Your Plant Hardiness Zone worksheet. This worksheet is going to be in the chat for you to see. But the cool thing about this worksheet is that for the first time in 11 years, the USDA plant hardiness zones have shifted. So here in Maine, we're typically a 5B zone, but we just got rezoned to 6A. So what does that mean? That means we can plant things sooner, and it means our season's going to last longer. And as a gardener, that's really important to know. So make sure you check that out. The other thing in the Know Before You Grow module that I wanted to talk about is garden journaling. So a great way, so I've been farming with kids for over 15 seasons now. And I've done everything I can to try to engage kids in the garden, not just for a minute, but for a whole season. And so ways that we do that is having interactive opportunities for them in the garden. Every single day, we go on a garden walk outside. And the reason why you need to go on your daily morning garden walk is because you have to have a relationship with these plants we're taking care of. We are their caretakers. So every morning, we go on a garden walk. And we're looking for pest pressure. We're looking for, did the deer eat anything? Is something covered in aphids? Is something thriving and beautiful? And we want to say, wow, what are we doing right here? So it's really important every day to go on your morning garden walk. When we do that, we give kids this garden journal entry. And as you can see, it has icons, but it also has great lines to make notes and write descriptions. We do that because we're every every learning ability, this is made for anybody to use. We also have, as you get going in the garden season, there's garden journal entries on how to organically care for your dahlias. And also, once they're in bloom, what you want to look for and what you want to keep your eyes out for, and keep count of how many things you harvest and what you're pulling out of the garden. So garden journaling is a great way to keep kids involved in the garden, hands-on throughout the entire season. The best part about garden journaling, though, is not even that it keeps the kids fully engaged throughout the season, but you want to hold on to these because it's record of the successes and lessons that you learn throughout the season. I keep a garden journal and I don't know what I would do without it. I have to have my garden journal because I want to know, when did I plant last year? Did that part of the garden have any issues or successes that I want to know about? So keep your garden journal pages. They're not just for the kids to use and toss. You want to keep these every day. And then you have a full, beautiful record of your garden season. Now, let's plant some dahlias. So if I haven't already sold you on dahlias and how you get to enjoy them from the tubers, from the blooms, guys, they're also edible. We made dahlia chips at farm camp last year, and they were pretty amazing. They're not as good as potato chips, I will say that. They have a little bit more of an earthy flavor to them, but they are edible, which is pretty cool. One thing I want to talk about and show you is you can plant dahlias anywhere. You can plant them in the field, you can plant them in a pot, you can plant them in a raised bed. I'm going to plant them in a pot today because if you see me plant them in a pot, you'll be able to understand that they can go in a raised bed or directly in the ground. Now, before we get to planting though, we need to do a tuber health check. And this is critical. The reason is that you can plant a tuber in the ground, and if the tuber doesn't have all the right anatomy, it might set roots and it will take nutrition from the garden, but it won't send up a shoot that's going to lead to a beautiful 3 to 5 foot plant with.
It looks like we might have lost Farmer Steph for just a moment. She's out in that greenhouse, so giving us first hands-on experience, just like we like. So if you could hold on for just a second, we'll see if we can get her back.
Yeah, while she's doing that, we might go out and make some dahlia chips. I had no idea you could make dahlia chips. What the heck?
I know, that was absolutely fascinating. I was like, Dahlia chips. It made me think, what else can you eat that you don't think that you could probably normally eat?
Very good point.
Hmm. Has anybody else tried edible flowers like in salads or desserts or anything like that?
I actually did that. I had there's a restaurant close by here. It's actually owned by one of my sister's friends. And they came out with this it's Italian restaurant and it's literally flowers that I was eating. I was like, what the heck?
Do you feel extra fancy and
I
delicious?
did
Can you
very
see me?
fancy.
Hey, you're back. Yes.
Okay,
How are
guys, the
you?
temperature in the greenhouse got too hot, and so the iPhone shut off. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. We were talking about dahlia chips and other edible flowers.
Okay, perfect. We're gonna move it into the doorway to see if it'll stay nice and cool there.
Great.
All right, is that on? Okay, great. So, okay, dahlia tuber health, guys. This is so important. So, as I was saying, dahlia tubers, you have to make sure they have all the anatomy to grow into the beautiful plant that you want. So, it needs a body. This is the body. It also needs a neck. Here's the neck. And then it also needs a crown and eyes. So as you can see here, these are the eyes. This is the crown where the stem used to be. This is the neck, and this is the body. Not all dahlia tubers are going to look like this. Some might look like this. This size, I have a rule of thumb. If it's smaller than a ping pong ball, I don't plant it. This one has eyes and I kind of love it. So I might put this in a container just because I don't want to throw it away because it is vital. It has eyes in a body. It is very small, but that's the smallest I would plant. Something like this one is shriveled. When I touch it, it's mushy. There's a difference between soft and mushy. Soft is okay. If it feels like it's mashed potatoes on the inside, that's not going to work for us. The other thing about this one, it has a shriveled neck and it's pretty broken. So anything with a broken neck will not grow, okay? Something like this is a beautiful dahlia, great size, great body, great neck. I see a lot of eyes on here. It looks wrinkled, but that's totally okay. It's just a little dehydrated. You have to remember, these have been in storage for 3 to 4 months. And so this will come right back to life as soon as you put it in soil. Not a problem. Something like this is smaller than a ping pong. This isn't going to get planted. This can get tossed. Something like this, okay, this one has some mold on it. If the mold you can wipe away with your finger, that's great. Go ahead and plant it. If the mold molds through the dahlia tuber and makes it feel like mashed potatoes, we're not going to plant that. Okay. So that's an idea of dahlia tuber health. This is a great tuber. Again, this is the crown where the stems used to be. And there you can see the eyes blooming there. Beautiful body, nice and firm. This is going to make a gorgeous dahlia plant. Okay. So now that we know what our dahlia tubers should look like, I want to point out this awesome reference. We're also going to drop this in the chat for you today. This is the Dahlia Tuber Health Checklist. It's going to take you through all the things I just talked about, the anatomy required, the different things to look for, feel, rot, mold, and making sure there's a neck and an eye. So that's a great resource. Make sure you use it. All right, now we're going to get this garden party started. We're going to get our pot. Dahlias can grow in any soil medium. So if you have, the only soil it won't like is really moist soil. So a dahlia tuber has so much energy and vitality to it that we don't actually water it until it starts to break the soil. So it starts to come through the soil. So all of everything it needs is already in this tuber body. So what we're going to do is plant it into some nice loose soil. I will say, before you go to plant your garden bed, and this is all in our garden layout section in the Know Before You Grow module, you want to be able to prep your soil by loosening it. Like I said, this one tuber is going to turn into a large cluster of 10 plus tubers. So to be able to encourage that growth and development and to be able to get the biggest size tubers you can, you want to make sure that Soil is nice and loose. That means you can take a pitchfork or a broad fork and loosen that soil before you go to plant it. If you're planting in a raised bed or in a pot, it won't be that big of an issue. But if you're planting in a field, do make sure, just like if you're planting carrots or beets or any other root crop, that you loosen the soil before you plant. All right. Now, in a pot like this size, I'm going to plant one dahlia tuber. And the reason I'm going to plant one dahlia tuber is because it's going to make a huge cluster. And the other thing you want to make sure when you're planting in a pot is that the opening of the pot is wider than the bottom. Why? Because when we go to pull it up, we want to make sure that cluster can come out without getting snagged on any kind of top up here. Okay. So we're going to take our beautiful dahlia tuber. This is probably the most important part, guys. You got to have good energy. We want to send this tuber in the ground with good positive energy. And that's one of the best things about farming with kids. They've got the best energy. They bring so much excitement to farming. And that's why I love farming with them. So make sure if you're having a bad day, shake it off, leave it at the door. Only positive energy for our happy dahlia plants. So we're going to wish this guy good luck. This is going to go. A lot of people think you plant it right in the ground, directly down. We don't want to do that. We're going to plant it horizontal, but at a diagonal. So the top where the eyes are reaching towards the top, and the bottom tail is reaching toward the bottom. So we're going to plant it at about a 45-degree angle. It's going to go right into the soil, 6 inches down. Okay, it's going to go just like that, about 6 inches down. And we're going to cover it. Tip it down lightly, and then you're going to put an inch or 2 of compost on top. I love to use worm castings and a compost blend wherever I put them out. Here they are. And so we're going to sprinkle that on top. The reason we're doing this is because dahlias are very heavy eaters. And we go over this in our bloom and grow section of how to grow dahlias with kids. We tell you exactly how to plant. We tell you everything you need to do to prep and amend the garden beds. And I made these sheets so that you can take them straight to the field or your garden or wherever you're planting. And they're simple, everything you need to know for plant spacing, plant depth, and how to put compost on and when to water and all that. We took care of all that for you. It's all in the module. So after we put it in the soil, we cover it with compost, label it. If you know what the variety of the dahlia is, go ahead and add a label. At Farm to Table Kids, we use, oh, here they are. We use popsicle sticks and a Sharpie. So that one was a Jowie Winnie. So we're going to write that on there along with the plant date. If for some reason this doesn't break soil line and start to grow in about a week, I would pick it up and see what's going on, see if there's any activity, see if you can see growth coming from the crown and the eyes. And if so, put it back in the ground. A lot of times, if you're questioning whether a dahlia tuber is healthy or not to plant, like let's say we want to plant this one, but it feels shriveled and soft and we're not sure about the vitality of it, you put it in a pot. You can see I did it kind of in a big pot here, but these were tubers that I was not sure about their health and vitality. So I pot them in here, and then the ones that are vital, they grow. The ones that didn't grow, didn't waste any space or any time in my garden. So if ever you have a dahlia tuber that you're questioning, instead of dedicating a whole 12 inches of space in your garden and maybe a week or 2 of your time, go ahead and put it in a pot. And that way, once it starts to grow, you know that it's healthy, you're good to go. Go ahead and plug it right into your garden. Okay? And just to show you what that looks like, I'm going to take this up right here. This is so fun because you get to kind of see exactly what the dahlia looks like once it starts to grow. So this is a tuber that I planted and I wasn't sure about the health. Okay, so this one you can see, this didn't grow. This didn't set off any kind of stems. This was shriveled and it didn't have the vitality it needed to make a plant. This one, however, had plenty. So this dahlia tuber looks great. These are the eyes that already started to develop. See how that little bud eye turned into this shoot here? How amazing is that? So this is going to go right into the garden. So it's a great way to check if your dahlia tubers are ready to plant or not. All right. So once we get our tubers in the ground and fed, you want to make sure you stake your dahlia tubers. They're going to grow 3 to 5 feet tall. And so as they grow, either use a bamboo stake or you can do what's called a basket weave and get some kind of baling twine or jute wire, and then just go back and forth your dahlia tubers as they grow to give them support. Their heads are very, very strong and heavy. And so sometimes in high winds or heavy rain, they tend to fall over and their stems will snap. We don't want that, but you can very much prevent that very easily by just staking them as they grow. Okay, so once we have them planted, oh, the other thing I wanted to mention too, when you're planting in the field or in a raised bed, the space requirements are 6 inches deep, 12 inches apart, and the rows are 3 feet apart. You don't have to remember that because that's all in the module we created for you. Everything's in there along with helpful how-to videos. They were all shot during last season. Every time I went into the garden, I made sure to record a video of what I was doing. So all of those are in the modules and especially under the pro tip section in both modules we created. All right, so Angelina, do we have questions so far?
We do have some questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so how can I tell if the soil is too moist?
Okay, great question. If the soil's wet, if you pick up the soil and you squeeze it and any moisture comes out, that's too moist. You want your soil context to be about the feel of a wrung out sponge. So if you have a kitchen sponge and you wring it out and it's wet, but it's not dripping wet, you're okay. So if you have an area in your yard or your garden where you know you get standing water or a puddle, do not plant dahlias there. They will rot. Okay. If you have an area like that and you're like, gosh, the dahlias need 6 or more hours of sun a day, but that's the only space I have and it tends to puddle, add more soil to it. You can create a mound, and as long as that mound doesn't wash away, you can use that space. I would just say try to contain the soil and add to it and then go ahead and plant in. It's only going to rot if it's like continuously always in saturated water. If it's in saturated water every now and then, they can withstand that. It's just the consistent saturated water that will cause damage.
Great. Now, on the opposite end, how do I know if it's too dry and that I need to add moisture?
So if it's too dry, so dahlias are from Mexico. They came from near the equator. They're very used to dry, arid environments. I am a school garden consultant for a school in Las Vegas, Nevada, for the Alexander Dawson School. Shout out, guys. The dahlias thrive there. Not only do they thrive there, we get to harvest them year round. So it's awesome. If you live in an environment where it's hot and warm, I would just say you have more control over the management of your soil because you can always add moisture to it. Dahlias do need water, but we don't water them until they start to break soil line. So I wouldn't water these dahlia tubers until they're about this size. Once they break soil line and they're that size, you can go ahead and take a watering can and water them, but you're never going to stand over it and dump a gallon of water on them. They just don't need that much water. You're there to keep the soil moist. Don't let it dry out completely and don't let it saturate completely.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think
Yeah.
we're good to go on that, on the moisture levels. So we know that we're in your gorgeous, beautiful greenhouse. And I think we kind of all know how a greenhouse works, but could you walk us through a little bit and just kind of give us like the ins and outs in the greenhouse and how that really supports all the things that grow inside of it?
Absolutely. The kids love the greenhouse. So this is a new space for us. And we have two classrooms in the front and the back. So there's a 40 by 40 classroom in the front and another one in the back. And then we're going to have 4 100-foot row beds inside the greenhouse. We're going to grow heat loving things like well, I was going to say snapdragons. Snapdragons actually love the cold, but they'll do well in here too. So we're going to put the dahlias in here, snapdragons, zinnias, cosmos, and then veggies that the kids love, trellising cucumbers, tomatoes, things like that. So we're going to have, right now, we're still waiting for our systems to get turned on because this greenhouse is that new to us. The electricity is on, but we're still waiting for the water to be turned on. As soon as that's on, all these plants are going in the ground, and we're going to start welcoming the community for hands-on classes that go throughout the season to take kids from planting to organically caring for them, harvesting, and then eventually having family and community workshops where we get kids to play with it through recipe creation, nature crafting, and things like that. But for the people that have tuned in for the dahlias, I wanted to also walk you through what you do if you're in a cold weather environment or even a warm weather environment and you want to dig up your dahlia tubers to see what those clusters look like, right? Like, oh my gosh, dahlia tubers are so fun because first you get to plant them and take care of them. And when the little sprout starts to show, you're like, ah, it's working, yes. And then they start to grow, and their first blooms that come out are always such an incredible surprise. They really are so stunning. So we show you every way to take care of them organically. We show you how to cut them and harvest them. And then once you're done with harvesting, or let's say frost comes in and it kills back your dahlias, because once a hard frost hits, the dahlias really do turn brown and die. Sometimes when a frost hits things in the garden, you're like, I don't know, maybe it's okay. I don't think it had that much of an effect on it. But a hard frost on dahlias, you'll definitely see an effect. They go from stunning, vibrant blooms to brown and just falling over and mushy. So when that happens, don't be sad. We're just celebrating the end of that season and the start of a new one. So the start of the fall season, once you have a hard frost hit, you're going to start to get ready to dig up those dahlia tubers. So when you're ready to dig up the dahlia tubers, what you want to do, this is all in our module, you're going to cut back those big bushy stems because one dahlia plant can grow 3 to 5 feet. And if you follow our modules and you pinch them back and do everything that we're showing you how to do, that's going to create a bush variety, and it's going to be nice and big. That plant should produce about 200 dahlia tubers throughout the season, which is pretty incredible. That's another reason why I love growing dahlias with kids and for community, is because if you wanted to do a school fundraiser for selling flowers, dahlias are an incredible asset to have because they're not only cut and come again. We have a pro tip on that in our how to grow dahlias with kids module. We have pro tips, and those are usually little video pop outs of me being like, hey guys, if you do this, you'll get this in return. So one of the pro tips we have is how dahlias are called cut and come. That means the more you cut, the more shoots will stand off, and more flowers you grow. So they are great for school fundraisers and things like that. The other thing you can sell are the tubers. So we always do a fundraiser for Farm to Table Kids where we sell our dahlia tubers. And again, it's a great way to raise funds for your school. Okay? Was that? Oh, yeah. So friends, when we do our dahlia tuber fundraiser, we put them in these great little packages. And these are some of the varieties we have at our farm. And these are the same ones that are part of our Dahlia Days giveaway that we're doing right now. The giveaway is open until May 18th. So please make sure log on to any of your social channels and go ahead and follow the directions there to be able to sign up for our Dahlia giveaway. We're selecting 3 winners, and you're going to get 5 dahlia tubers to get your season started, which is a great value. So make sure you take advantage of that. The other things we're going to be giving away are these cute little Farm to Table Kids harvest baskets, water bottles, and hats. So make sure you do follow on all the social channels to be able to get those things too. So guys, when you dig up your dahlia tubers in the fall, it's going to be one big cluster attached to a main stem. And you're going to be like, whoa, this is a lot. What do I do with this? And it's so fun to show kids how to properly divide and store your dahlia tubers. Again, we take you through every single step of that process, from digging them up curing them in the sun. The biggest thing about overwintering dahlia tubers, a common mistake people make, is tucking them away when they are still wet from the fields. In the winter, when they get hit by frost, there's a ton of moisture content in the air and in the soil. So it's critical that you let them dry out for about a week before you put them away. When you put them away, we're going to walk you step by step through the different mediums that you can use. I used to use peat moss. We don't use that anymore because peat moss is a non-renewable resource. So we've switched to wood chips. I love wood chips more than peat moss. The wood chips actually keep the tubers so much more clean. And when I unpack them, I can see the anatomy and the eyes I'm looking for so much better. So we take you through that step by step, every step of the way. That's why I love this module, these two modules. We take you from everything you know everything you need to know before you grow, and that's relevant for anything you're planting, whether it's tomatoes and cucumbers or dahlias. It's relevant to anything. And it's relevant to all climates. We go through, again, how the plant hardiness zones just shifted for the first time in 11 years. So everything in that module is super up to date, and I love it. So you got to check it out. It's so beautiful. So when you pack these away, you're going to pack them away until spring of the next year. So when they're in their storage medium in your, you want to check on them every month of the winter. So if we pack these away, I usually dig them up in November. You want to get them dug up. If you live in a cold weather environment, you do want to get them dug up before Thanksgiving, just as a rule of thumb. And then I get them packed away a couple weeks after that. And so once a month, I go and I open the tops of the bins that they're stored in just to make sure there's no mold in there, make sure they're not mushy. When you pack them away, you want to make sure they're not touching one another, because if mold does start, you don't want it to spread to the other ones. Again, we take you through all of that. But either when you dig them up in the fall or when you unpackage them in the spring, that's a great way to see how many dahlia tubers you have, see what size your garden is, and if you have extras, give them to your community or sell them for your school fundraiser or something like that. So dahlias are really a plant that always gives back in so many different ways. They're such a great plant. Angelina, can you think of anything else I need to talk about?
Oh, yes, we have quite the list of questions. We've got some
Okay, great.
excited folks on here. So, all right. So, one of the questions is several folks have, that is great to hear. So, I can tell there's going to be lots of dahlia planting everywhere. So, here's another question. How many types of dahlias are there, and how long does it take to grow a dahlia from planting to full bloom?
There are thousands of varieties of dahlia tubers. One of the sections in our How to Grow Dahlias with Kids modules that I love is our dahlia identifier. So there are all different types or forms of dahlias. There's cafe au lait is a dinner plate dahlia. Dinner plate means that bloom head is going to be about 12 inches in diameter. And then there's something like decorative. All that jazz is a decorative variety. That means it's going to have a really wide head, but it doesn't have a ball form. Whereas Jowie Winnie is a ball form. That means it's a dahlia where the front of it looks almost identical to the back of it. It's totally full, like a lollipop. Like there's no end to the beautiful pattern. So as you can see, these are just some of the dahlia tubers we grow here at Farm to Table Kids, but there are thousands of different dahlia varieties. The only dahlia color that doesn't exist is blue. They come in every color except blue, and they come in different forms, but our dahlia identifier will go over all the different variety forms with you. And it also has, in the module, it has this really cool page where if you see a dahlia that's not in our dahlia identifier, the student gets to draw it and label it and name it themselves. So it's a really cool interactive. Do check it out. The visuals are pretty stunning, if I do say so myself. And so this is just one page of it, but it's several pages long.
Awesome. So speaking of non-toxic dahlias, and we talked about that, you've made dahlia chips. Is there different flavors between the dahlias and the tubers? Do they taste different? Are some starchy, some sweet?
There are, yeah. They they taste more earthy than a potato. Um, but I like them. They're just like, well, then again, whenever we make anything at farm camp on a hot summer day and it has salt to it, everyone's gonna love it. But they are delicious. You can also sprinkle the flower petals into a salad or on top of cupcakes or a cake or something like that. That's a great use for them. But they do have different flavors. And if you wanted to, I think that would be a good project for the kids at summer camp is to each have different tuber varieties and see which one tastes better. That'd be pretty cool. The other thing is dahlia tubers come in all different shapes and sizes. That dinner plate cafe au lait I was telling you, that tuber will be about probably 10 to 12 inches long.
Mm.
And so those grow probably 6 to 8 tubers per cluster, whereas something like a bride to be dahlia cluster, their tubers are much more compact, smaller, and those clusters will produce like 2 dozen tubers sometimes. So they do have their own personalities and their own shapes and forms, but yeah, they're really fun. They're like, this is a Jowie Winnie, this is a bride to be. You can't always tell exactly who belongs to who. That's why labeling is so important. If you ever get dahlias and they come labeled where you know the variety, they're telling you this is a cafe au lait, please label it. You're going to want that label because when you go to dig them up in the fall and go to plant your garden the next spring, you're going to want to know who is who. So if you want to plant all the cafe au laits together or to mix all your varieties, or you want to sell your cafe au lait dahlia tubers, because on the market retail, a cafe au lait dahlia tuber is about $20 if you buy it at a nursery. But if you plant it and you create your own dahlia cluster of about 10, look at all that money you have for your school fundraiser or to share with your community. So they're great in that regard.
Well, thank you for all of the tips and the tricks and the expertise that you were sharing with us. So I have one more question that's left before we close up. So Steph, just knowing that many people are going to be gardening and trying different things and planting all kinds of different things with young people this summer. Any advice on perhaps that, we're wanting it to grow and look beautiful and green, but maybe we have a bit challenges and it doesn't grow quite as we think it would. Yeah, how do you handle any of those conversations, especially when everybody's super excited about it to grow and it may not grow exactly like we want it to?
You know what would be cool is since dahlia tubers grow, we plant this 6 inches in the ground and it's going to create a nice tuber cluster as it grows throughout the season and a nice, hopefully, if it grows right, beautiful bush habitat flower. One way to kind of like help kids throughout the process as we're waiting for that plant to mature is you can sprinkle other seeds around it. Here at Farm to Table Kids, I get native wildflower seeds. The reason why we use native is because we really want to show kids how seeds here in Maine, even though we're very cold climate, some seeds need that cold. Things like snapdragons and lupin, they wouldn't grow without a cold snap. And so I love taking the dahlia tubers, planting them in the ground, but then having the kids go ahead and broadcast some wildflower seeds on top of that or throughout the garden bed. They'll grow beautifully with intermixed with some native wildflower seeds and dahlias. So you can always interplant. At the Farm to Table Kids camp in Freeport, I interplant snapdragons and zinnias all in the same bed as the dahlias because then everything grows at different times, but then the bed is always available for kids to go and harvest something. So dahlias are a fall flower. That means even though we're planting them right about now, this time of year, late May, very early June, you just want to make sure you plant your dahlias after all danger of frost has passed. That's the most important thing. If you plant your dahlia in the ground and you get a little frost late May, that's not going to hurt it. You'll be totally fine. It's if the ground freezes and then makes the tuber freeze, that's when it's an issue. Okay. So I would say right now, pretty much in any region, you can go ahead and plant your dahlia tubers without an issue.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that additional wisdom, tips, and expertise. We're excited about trying this out, and I definitely see a Mizzen Education gardening group happening here, garden club, and seeing what's going to happen with that. So, thank you so much. Any other last words of wisdom that you want to share with us, Farmer Steph, before we
I'm just
close
so
up for the day?
grateful that our resources are available for free on your platform. For over 15 years, I've been farming with kids and creating these worksheets and ways to get kids engaged, not just for a minute in the garden, but for a season and hopefully a lifetime in the garden. So all of these materials are so intentional. They're so well thought out. Partnering with Mizzen, you guys really just took it to the next level. I'm so appreciative for that. And I'm so appreciative that we have your platform to offer these for free to everybody. So please, guys, go get these resources. I know that they will help you, your classroom, your home garden, wherever you are. And if you have any questions throughout the growing season, I would love to hear from you. Tag Farm to Table Kids, email me, send me pictures. I am here for it. I love it so much. This is my passion. Please include us in your garden community and let's grow together.
Yes, grow together. Well, thank you so much. We are so appreciative of you and this collaboration and all the expertise and love and care that nurturing that you have provided to these learning resources. And we're just thankful for you in this partnership as we launch our horticultural adventures on Vision. So thank you for that. And we look forward to coming back to the greenhouse and seeing what else is growing, because I think like it is going to be like a complete surprise and beautiful place to check out over the summer. So hopefully we can come back and check out to see what's going on there. So
Yeah, this is going to be a great before and after opportunity. So this is the before. So wait till you see the after. I'm so sorry the phone overheated in the greenhouse. That was a
Oh, that's totally, thank you. Thank you so much. And just as a reminder, I think Farmer Steph talked about, right, there is a giveaway. So make sure that you follow the giveaway, make sure that you go to Instagram, make sure that you tag and do all the things that you need to do so you can win your own free Dahlia package, which is pretty super cool that you can have those resources. So thank you again, Farmer Steph, for spending this time with us today, sharing your expertise. Everybody, let's go and grow. Let's have some fun. Have a beautiful summer, and thanks for joining
thank you.
us. Bye.
So hot.